Welcome to the Bella Astrology Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Bella. I'm an astrologer, modern mystic, and spiritual empowerist. Here we talk about all things astrology, healing, spirituality, and living your birth chart. I'm a sun in Scorpio, moon in Pisces, rising Sagittarius. Get ready to dive beneath the surface, peer beyond the veil, and have a little fun. Welcome to this week's Bella Astrology Podcast, everyone. I am your host and astrologer, Ashley. We have a very special episode in store today. We are recording a video today. I will figure out how to get this on the internet so you can watch along with us as we go through this pod. But before we get started on this episode, I just want to remind you guys, please leave me a review, comment, share this on your social platforms. I am a one-woman show, so your shares and your likes mean everything to me. As you can tell by this studio and this setup here, we are learning, we are figuring this out. So please share this on your pages, share with your friends and family. Hey, I just listened to this awesome astrology podcast, Bella Astrology. I so much appreciate it. That being said, let's get into it. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Bella Astrology Podcast. Very special episode today. I have a special guest with me. This is my favorite Cancer in the whole world. My husband, Jeff, is here, everybody.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I lovingly call you Jeffrey, so I will probably refer to him as that during the podcast. And we're celebrating today. We are kicking off your birthday celebrations this week. Pour some wine. And so in this episode, you guys sit back, relax, pour yourself a glass of wine with us, light some candles. As we talk about all things Cancer, Jeffrey, his birth chart, and how we live astrology together in our lives, and what that means for us. When I started this podcast, actually, before I even introduce or get into that, want to top us off, pour us a little bit more?
Sure. Well, I was going to toast you too.
We'll get to that. So when I started this podcast, I knew I wanted to have you on an episode, and you'll probably be on future episodes. So get used to this guy. You're going to see him around here. But you have been my rock through all of this astrology journey with me, from when I was studying it just as a passion to building it into an actual business. You have been there with me through it all. And so I can't wait for you guys to meet Jeff. As we go through this episode, we're going to talk about Jeff's natal chart. We're going to talk about how he works with his chart, but then we're also going to talk about our charts together. And what that means is synastry in astrology. So I'll get to that as we get into the episode. But light some candles. We have our candles. Incense are going. Pour some wine. And I'll tell you a little bit more as we get into this. So first of all, let's talk about what you are. Let's cheers to Cancer. We are in the season of Cancer. Happy birthday to all the Cancers out there. I'll take a drink here. All right, let's talk about you, Jeff.
Let's talk about me.
Oh, all right. So Jeff, you are a sun in Cancer, moon in Sagittarius, rising Pisces. So just to remind you guys, I am a Scorpio sun, moon in Pisces, rising Sagittarius. So we are both double water fire signs. And you'll see kind of how this plays out in our synastry charts here. But before we get into your specifics, my love, is there anything you want to say, introduce yourself, talk about this astrology life that you have adopted, got into, what you think about astrology, or how you feel about us digging into your chart today?
Sure. No, I think it's interesting that you want to dig into this a little bit. So the first thing though is I'm going to cheers you, because very rarely do I get to come into the inner sanctum of your office, which is, I know,
we have to figure out a name for this place. I call it the Astrology Studio, but it has to have something else. Astrology in the treetops. I don't know. I need you to marinate on that a little bit.
that'll come through my creativity. Part of my
Yes,
right?
yes.
No, I think like the journey that you've been on has been interesting for me because I was never into astrology. You know, I would read the horoscope in the newspaper and like most people do and think, oh, okay, this is what's happening in my life. And then as you started to study and introduce me to what you were learning, I became more curious about it. And then as I learn more, it becomes fascinating. And these things that some might call a coincidence aren't really a coincidence. And there's too many things that I was learning from you that are like, oh, okay. And that's helped me understand more about me, why I am the way I am. That helps me understand how you are and helps to, within our relationship, understand a little bit more about today's not a day for me to push any of your buttons, and likewise, probably for me. So I've actually taken a lot of what you've taught me and tried to apply it in my everyday life.
I love that. I love that so much, and that's so much of what astrology is just when you start noticing it and incorporating it into your life, that's when the magic happens. It's not going to tell you what's going to happen. It's like the weather. The weather's going to happen whether or not you're paying attention to it, but paying attention to it, you are equipped with the tools to put on a raincoat or put on the sweater, depending on what the weather is going to be like outside.
I think the other thing, if I can say, well, the other thing that's fascinating is the more I talk to people about like what you do and what, you know, I'm learning from you, how many people are fascinated or into astrology more than I ever realized.
Yeah.
So it's, to me, this is a fascinating world, and I am glad to be along the journey.
Well, you are Pisces rising, my love, so I'm happy to be your teacher on this journey. Before we dive into your chart, I just want to give a little nod to the artwork that we have in the background here. A nod to our Scorpio and Pisces. This is in the studio at all times, but not usually. I have my wolf behind me here in the studio, but a beautiful art piece that just so eloquently depicts the dance that is the relationship between the Scorpio and the crab.
Constantly dancing. Holding each other very lightly.
Oh, yeah.
Just pinching lightly.
Lightly. You like it, just a little.
Just a little.
All right, so Jeffrey's big three: Cancer, Sag, Pisces. I want to talk a little bit about Cancer. So we are in the Cancer season. What is a sun in Cancer? So the archetype of Cancer is the nurturer, the intuitive, it's maternal, and it's feeling. On its highest level, it's emotional intelligence. It is nurturing. It is the memory bank. It's your childhood. It is having memories. Cancer is like the elephant. It remembers everything. It's so loyal and tenacious. It wants to retreat to the home. So the domain of the Cancer is their home. So it's, as a water sign, all water signs are an internal sign. So they're more internal. The crab itself has a shell. It retreats into its shell, if you think about it. So the sign of Cancer is this emotional, reactive machine, and it needs to be at home. Family is so important to a Cancer. It really means everything. And when I describe Cancer like that, and I look at Jeffrey and I see the relationships that Jeff has and how you are in the world, that isn't what everyone gets to see. That is not something that is out on the world for display. And there's a few very significant reasons for that. The biggest one is Jeffrey's sun is conjunct. In astrology, this means next to or on top of the planet Saturn. So when Jeff was born in the sky, the sun was sitting right next to the planet Saturn. And this is an extreme signature in anyone's personality. And surprise, I also have Saturn conjunct my sun. So we both have this extreme personality signature. We came into this life, you came into this life, serious. Young when you're old. This sign, the sign, so Saturn is the sign of Capricorn. And so the sign, whenever a planet sits next to, and then in this case, the sun, when the sun sits next to Saturn, it gets diminished because Saturn restricts it. Saturn is the diminisher. And so if we look at the archetype of Capricorn, here we have the self-disciplined stabilizer, the one with high standards, that's professional, that is corporate, hardworking, disciplined, dutiful, dependable, realistic. This is the businessman, the dignitary, the authoritarian, can be quite conservative, guarded, maybe overcautious, self-seeking, over-ambitious. Capricorn is motivated by achievement, motivated by status, money, prestige. And so when I'm saying these things, you're laughing. Like,
well, because they all describe, at least my self-assessment would be everything that you
correct
describe.
And that our sun sign is who we view ourselves as. So you have this strong signature. And when I was describing the Cancer archetype, Cancer gets such a bad rap. When you see it, it's so sensitive and it's emotional and it's soft. And these are amazing things, not to say that, but it is hypersensitive and it gets kind of over dramatized. But what you wouldn't know about Cancer is that Cancer is actually, people who are Cancers are some of the most successful business people in the world, because it is emotional intelligence. It is the most evolved sign of the zodiac. And when you couple that and you marry that with Capricorn energy, it is such a successful personality type. Okay, so most successful business people because of your emotional intelligence, but couple that with your Capricorn, like you're tough, like you're super tough. I remember when I first met you, there was like definitely a guard up, like, this guy, he's tough. You come off that way, and people are actually like scared of you. You're very direct. You have high standards. You don't have time for BS, and you expect a lot for people. Couple that with your fire moon in Sagittarius, extremely blunt, honest, mean. You can say the wrong things, actually.
And then
True or false?
True. No, it's true. And it took me a while to understand that that's how people react to me in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then when I realized that, I just embraced it. And then that's also how I separated who I wanted to be around, because if you can get past that first layer, the hard exoskeleton, the brashness, the maybe a little egocentric, however people would like to call that. Once you get behind that wall, though, you see there is a nurturing, loyal, nostalgic person who really genuinely cares about family and friends and will go to the ends of the earth for them. So for me, that's also, once I understood that, I was like, okay, these are the people that actually want to be around me, and these are the people who are more superficial, or I keep them at an arm's length.
Well, your tough exterior and, let's be honest, kind of assholeness, like that is actually one of the things that I love actually the most about you, because most of the time it benefits me in some way. But,
sure.
And you're not an asshole to me. You're not at all whatsoever. You can't be. I have a stellium in Scorpio. You and I do the dance, the sting versus the pinchers. Like we have that I can sting you. When I am mad and angry, and the words that I say, and when they cut, you have that wonderful shell and it just protects you, and that Sag moon laughs it off like, you look so good when you're mad. And then it makes me even madder.
It does, but then I just chuckle as I walk away. But then I mean, so I'm fortunate that I can understand you though, and the things that I need to do to make sure that you get to be who you are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with the soft underbelly, and there is a tendency where you can strike a spot. I can use my pinchers to just give you the, okay, it's enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you also understand. But no, it is true though, and I take the feeling or the labeling of being tough or an asshole, if you will, almost as in
Lovingly.
It's an endearing quality. Although I don't think everybody agrees with me accepting that as endearing. But it's true though. Like, I will protect those that I love, and I will go to the ends of the earth.
Yeah, it's a fierce loyalty.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
To a fault, probably, but at times, but certainly for family, that's
And speaking to that, that when you first meet Jeff, and he has that stern exterior, you ask your family, you ask those who are in the circle of trust. I mean, you ask the people that work for him. People love to work for you. And that goes back to Cancer and being in business and that emotional intelligence. Like, you're stern and you're tough, but you're so caring and you're so understanding, that empathetic. You can definitely sense people on that emotional, energetic level. And not everyone can do that. Especially that when we kind of talk about the masculine energy, like, that is not something that is out of the box. Like, that is grown, that is learned, that is cultivated, and it's something that I think has gotten you where you are. You're extremely successful in your business, and in the way you think in your mind. Your mind is also in Cancer. I think that really is your secret sauce to success.
Yeah. And again, I appreciate the compliment that that you believe that everyone or people who like to work for me. I never give myself enough credit in that sense, I don't think. But my team will tell you that I am also fiercely loyal to them, and they know that. So as I protect my family, I'm also loyal to my team, or the people that I'm fortunate enough to have work with me or for me. But at the same time, like, as you're well aware, I can be moody. And so my moodiness, which can go from 0 to 100 in a millisecond, I have learned through this process, especially with you or with my teams that are working for me, that I have to manage that and understand that is just who I am, that I have to be careful about that, because my words do sting. And as you've told me many times, and I've told probably hundreds of people this, that you constantly remind me that my approach is not always great. So I try to keep that in mind, as especially with my teams. Probably something I will work on for the rest of my life. So,
well, that's just speaks to your character, of the fact that you are actively conscious of that. You're working on it, and you know it. The awareness, right? We all have things, but it's not like you're just blowing that off. You're in a position of power in your business and your career. Like, you wouldn't have to do that, but you are actively. That is a very important thing for you.
Well, I try. If nothing else, I said I am self-aware.
Yes,
and that's correct, also why when I try to tell you that I didn't know I was doing something, or I apologize, you call me out on that, right? Well, you do
exactly what you're doing,
which I appreciate that though. That's also that's
kind of how we work.
Part of why I love you so much. But like, you're not afraid to tell me or call me out on X, Y, or Z, because you know better, and then you also understand me through understanding my chart, that I know what I'm doing. And I think the other thing that, from a business perspective, which is interesting, is we talk about like intuition. which I rely on a lot, probably to a fault, because a lot of times when I am telling a group or I am telling people who are powers of authority over me that this is the reason why we're going to do it, and they'll ask me for facts. Well, why? I don't need the facts. I just know. I know this is the right thing to do. And it's hard for people to understand that, but
it's your intuition, you know.
I know
it's your gut. Cancer rules, you know, the stomach. That is literally that gut feeling. It's your intuition, and you use that. You let that guide you. That's just no secret as to how you've gotten.
No, but I trust it. I understand that.
Oh, that is key too. Is that you have learned to trust.
No, I trust it.
Yeah.
And I look back on certain things, and I don't have any. Certainly, I don't have any regrets in life. That's not what it is. But you go back and you're like, okay, the voice told me I should have listened. And hindsight's always 20/20. But I knew beforehand there was something in my head told me, okay, this is probably not right, or maybe this isn't the right thing to do, or maybe you should go in a different direction. But you know, thinking in a different route, okay, but always go back to, like, I trust my intuition.
Yeah. So moving on to your moon sign of Sagittarius. Sag moon, everybody. The expansive philosopher, truth-seeking, adventurous, the optimist. It's jovial, humor, it's the explorer, philosopher, higher education, learning, world travel. We'll get to that. Outspoken, the truth seeker, athletics, sports, associated with the planet. It is ruled by Jupiter, so it is the planet of luck. And this sign is just wants to celebrate, wants to love life. That's the big picture thinking. It's the wanderer. It is blunt. I was searching for a word. Blunt, foot in mouth. This is where maybe your approach, or sometimes not quite. Maybe you should have said it that way, but I absolutely adore your Sag moon, and it's also in the 9th house, which is the home, the natural home of Sagittarius. I love this part about you, and I believe that this was what made me fall in love with you. Not made me, but why I fell in love with you. What piqued my interest when we first met was your Sagittarius moon. Remember, I'm Sagittarius rising. And up until I met Jeff, I just got divorced. I was in a place. Jeff came out of left field like I was not expecting. I couldn't have, that was not on my radar. But here's this guy, and we're having lunch, and he's talking about this quest that he has. This quest that he has to visit all of the Division I football stadiums. And this is what he does in the fall. Every weekend, he maps it out. He goes to these college towns. He sees all these games. He's got a ticket and a picture that he has to get on every emblem of the field. And I remember sitting there at this lunch. Again, I'm Scorpio, and I'm just watching. I'm not really talking. I'm just kind of observing, taking it in. I'm like, what? I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to go with this guy. I just met you, but I want to go with you. Like, why do I want to go with you? I don't know. I can't travel. There's no way I could travel. I couldn't do that, and I didn't. And that was a part of my life that I just shut down. I was not living my rising sign whatsoever. That bold, that bluntness, that truth-seeking, that adventure, like that was not Ashley back then at all. And so I was so interested in that, and I was just like, oh my God. And then when we started dating, one of the first things that I did, which was one of the most out of character and spontaneous things, which was not me at the time, was you were going on a football trip. You were going to Utah.
Yep.
And we had just started dating, and I just booked a ticket. I went on Southwest, and I booked a ticket, and I'm like, I'm coming. I'm gonna meet you in Utah. Never been there before. Never done this, but I had this desire, and that fire in your moon, and the Sag in me was just like, go.
Which excited me, of course. And I think that was also part of why I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool that she's doing this, because when we started talking initially and I asked you about traveling, and your response to me was, I don't travel. I hate traveling. And I thought, wow, this isn't going to go very far. You're a wonderful person, gorgeous, of course, but this isn't going to work for me if you're not going to be willing to travel. That to me, it's so important in my life.
Yeah.
And then when I explained to you that, okay, I also had been coming off of a divorce. I had just moved to Phoenix for work. And so that was my first fall where I was single again. And every weekend I had already pre-planned trips, because I obviously was not looking to get into a relationship at that time. So every weekend I had something. And I remember you calling me one of the nights and saying, oh, by the way, I've booked a flight to Utah. I'm going to join you on this trip. And I was just like, wow, that was unexpected. And I think you had a good time. And
Yeah.
and and you went on several trips with me that fall and then the fall after. And then we expanded it though to become more than just the football game. The football game was when I go with my friends, and I have one friend in particular that I do this with. But when you and I went, it turned into, we started to explore the towns, and it was about finding local coffee shops and local restaurants and understanding. And the game became part of it, but not the focus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once I knew you were bought into this, I'm like, okay, this is going to be the start of something great.
Oh no, it was so exciting. Going to college towns, mapping out the restaurants, the hotel, the coffee shops. We love to go to coffee shops. What wines were we going to drink? What what we were going to experience. It was just experiencing the world. And it was a whole new world to me, and it would just light up my rising sign. And you are my teacher in that aspect. And I know without a doubt, and we'll talk about our synastry charts in a minute, but I know without a doubt, like, you are my teacher for a lot of things, and I get to give that back to you in other ways. But yeah, love that Sag moon. So your moon sign is what you need in life. It is your emotional body. So Jeff, being a Sag moon, he has to travel. He has to see the world. The world, that is his happy place. And fortunately, you've been fortunate to have careers where you do travel the world. That is literally your job. You make the best of friends. Your best friends live all over the world, and they're business associates, but they become your best friends. Like we have friends from Australia coming next week, which just started from a business, deal, and now they're best friends. And here they are traveling across the world to come to visit Jeff for his birthday. Like, your friends love you, and your worldly friends.
But I love them equally in return.
Yeah. Okay.
They teach me so much. And I love learning about their culture, and I love learning about why they do the things that they do and their traditions. And I don't know, to me, that is a part of my life that I don't think I could ever live without. And there was obviously a 2-year period there where nobody was traveling, and we weren't allowed to travel, and there was definitely a void there. Again, I love being at home. I thoroughly enjoyed that, spending time with you. We got to spend time with our at that time, younger son at, ages 3, 4, and early 5, where we would have never gotten that time with him. So I'm very thankful, but there was definitely a void there for a long time where I was not on the road.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, and so your Pisces rising. So Pisces, this is the spiritualist, the creative, the dreamy, compassionate, otherworldly artist. This, as your rising sign, is what your soul signed up for to evolve into. This is what your soul wanted you to rise into. It's why we call it the rising sign. And so it's this sign of Pisces, near and dear to my heart, my moon sign, is about creating, empathizing. Another water sign, it's incredibly intuitive, empathetic compassion. very compassionate, selfless. This is what we call unconditional love. It's the last sign of the zodiac. It is the most evolved. It is the spiritual, higher connect to higher self, soul level connections, and is into all things that are classical, romantic, dreamy. It is ruled by the planet Neptune, so it rules things. It is the illusion. If you think about the sign, if you look at the glyph for the Pisces, it's two fish going in different directions. It's very, one way or the other way, in and out of reality, on this side of the veil, on that side of the veil. And so this is where all things like meditation, artistry, dance, classical music, meditation, this is Pisces. It can be on its lower vibration, confusing. It can be impractical or delusional or ungrounded. Fortunately, for you and I, we have that stabilizing Saturn to hold us down. The most, arguably the most stable grounded sign there is. So we, that we're not able to float away so far under our Neptunian influence of Pisces. But Pisces is sweet and it's kind. It is the sign that lives between two worlds. And so for me, this is incredibly comfortable. This is my moon sign. It's how I feel. It's my emotional body. I go off on, I go off in my own little world all the time. I mean, I'm literally in a tree house basically in the woods where I kind of go away and I have my lotions and potions and I do all my woo woo, and this is the woo woo here up here. And for me, it's so uncomfortable. Like, this is my natural state. This is who I am. This was who I came, like, through becoming an astrologer is who I came out as. Really, my Pisces is just thriving. Your Pisces, how does that feel for you? As this is what you came here to be, to evolve into, your higher self, your soul.
Still learning. Because this is not, I don't think, in my normal thought process to live between two worlds and float around. Like, I don't know. The creativity, yes, I don't think that's a side that a lot of people see. I think because I'm so analytical with business and everything that I do in the course of a day that, I can be really creative when I want to be. And I think sometimes even you get surprised, or maybe you're not surprised. No. But I think people can get surprised about, wow, okay, that we didn't expect you to come up with something like that. And but even as a kid, which now this makes a lot of sense, I did draw a lot when I was a kid. I love music. I used to listen to classical music. I still do. When the mood strikes, right? We listen to that. So no, it's embracing that, and it's nice to know that you've taught me like this, but this is who you are ascending to be. This is what you need to learn and be.
Well, even like look at us right now, like we have bonded so much over like wine. And wine, as appropriately used, is an escape, right? We have that as part of our personality. We dance in between worlds and we're looking, for that kind of escape. And this has become such a important part of our lives. We love it. We love to study it, understand it, try it, evolve. Our tastes have evolved, but it's something that, speaks to our Neptunian, personality types so strongly.
And we've made some amazing friends through wine.
Our favorite place to go, Napa, and
it's now a business in our family now. We've got that as part of it. So no, it's an incredibly important part of our lives.
Yeah. And just we're channeling one of our friends right here tonight, our beautiful friend Hillary. I'm sure she'll be on the pod in future episodes, but
fellow Cancer.
Fellow Cancer.
By the way.
I'm sure she will be on. We're having one of the Bell Winery Merlots tonight as we do this podcast. So yeah, that is, you're my Sagittarius teacher and I'm your Pisces teacher, And I think we get that about each other. I think you're intrigued about where I go and the woo-woo and coming along with me.
If I wasn't, I certainly wouldn't have support. Like, I don't know, like it's interesting because I watch the things that you do and I'm just very curious. And then I see like what you're learning and I see what you're doing and I'm like, oh, it's awesome.
Well,
So,
and also like you're studying numerology, like that fascinates you. You love the study of numbers and synchronicity and serendipity in the universe and
nothing
seeing.
is random as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
Right.
So everything, and this is also where astrology has taught me, like, okay, again, no coincidences. Everything is there's a plan. Everything is happening.
Mhm.
And I think for me, like numerology and numbers, like everything has its place and an order,
Right.
and nothing is random.
Well, and that's something you can teach me.
I would
More about that.
enjoy teaching you more about that, sure. As I learn more, sure.
Just want to touch a little bit on Saturn and then we'll move on to synastry because Saturn plays such a strong role in who we are. You and I, your Saturn, we said was in Cancer, and right next to your sun. So you have Saturn in Cancer. And so Saturn represents really what you came here to learn, your life lesson. We talked about the planet of being kind of the authority, and Saturn comes and checks in and makes sure that you are doing your Dharma, you're doing your life plan, and you're on the right track. And so for us, we have such a strong Saturn influence. Mine is in the 12th house. So it's a little bit hard for me to see. I'm not as disciplined as you are. Mine comes out in different ways, but that extreme discipline and just focus on, what you're here to do and your tasks and who you're supposed to be. But having Saturn in Cancer is really about learning about the emotional body, even healing the emotional body. As you grow, as you've grown up through life, you reflect on your childhood and you reflect on, what made you you. And a lot of the kind of the learning that a Saturn in Cancer goes through is kind of being the child when you're older, recognizing being the child that you wanted or needed, or as you are older, or that you needed at that time. And it's so beautiful to see you with our son. We say this a lot, like you are getting, a second childhood. You're living through him. You literally get to make your, more childhood memories through the eyes of our son. And it's it lights you up so much.
It does. I wouldn't say by any means I had a terrible childhood. I had a great childhood, but there were things I think that you would hope, especially as you're going through your childhood, and certainly as you turn into and grow into an adult, that you maybe wished or hoped your parents had done more of. And I had a lot of support growing up, but I would have liked them to have been around more, to do more, like coach me in my sports, or be more willing to take me on vacations, or give me experiences that I'd asked for, or was hungry for, and for whatever reasons, okay, it's fine. But you're right, living my childhood like through Kane, through our son. It's amazing to be able to coach him, to be able to see him accomplish things and watch his eyes light up as he's learning something or he achieves something that he wanted to do. But I mean, even living here in the woods, to be able to do all the things that he gets to do with, with his grandpa, I'm almost living that through him too, or, the splitting wood, or we're ice fishing, or we're snowmobiling, or, we're on the boat, and all these experiences that I did not have as a child that I get to relive. Yeah.
And love is going to be your legacy, and that, you, I think, are definitely in your era of, family first and leaving love as your legacy and imprinting, especially on Kane, especially, but me too. Like, love is your legacy. Love is the most important thing. Family first. Family is the most important thing. You always say that.
Would you ask our son, like what's the most important thing?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to say that we're a family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, like, I think as the older you get too, and you learn, like, okay, there's things as a kid. So I like things, you know, I want to accomplish things and I want to get things. But I think as you evolve and you get older, you realize that's not the most important thing. Material things are not important. And it's like, it's your love, your family, the memories that you're creating. That's your legacy. That's what you're going to leave and live through. So to me, that's to me, it's actually fun for me to learn, like, okay, the things that I thought were important, you know, Jeff 10 years ago, Jeff 20 years ago, it's not the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So want to move a little bit now, change directions a little bit and move into your chart and my chart together. So in astrology, there's this amazing reading that you guys can get. If you haven't done this before, you can do this with loved ones. You can do it with your coworkers. What a great bonding experience with your coworkers, your best friends. It's called a synastry chart. And what we do in astrology is we take your birth chart of two people and we lay them on top of each other and we get to see where you light each other up, where conflict could potentially be, where your opportunities are, and what really makes your relationship sing. And so synastry, I took this amazing course by the wickedly talented astrologer Malika Sempa. You should go look her up, Malika Sempa Astrology. She offers this course a couple times a year. So after I had, you know, started studying astrology, I wanted, you know, to go into a little bit more depth. And there's so many different charts you can look up in astrology, but one of her specialties, she is a relationship astrologer. And so this is a relationship reading. You can do it with your child. You can do it all. It's wonderful. So after I took this class, obviously, I laid Jeff and I's chart together. And what I just love this about astrology is that it's never going to tell you anything that you don't already know. Astrology is a mirror. It holds up a mirror to reflect and validate what you already know about yourself. Give yourself the permission to be exactly how you're supposed to be. And there's no difference there with the synastry chart. I think I took that class in 2021. And what came out of that was just, of course, as I'm going through it, I'm running up to Jeffrey and I'm like, Jeff, you got to see this. Can you believe this? Oh my God, I hear, like, you can't make this up. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about that and it'll kind of shed some light on our relationship. But so in our synastry chart, both of us, we hold a flashlight with authority, leading, and I'm going to look at it before I go. So I have all our charts here. So I keep looking at our charts and I'm looking at our synastry chart here. We hold what I would say what's that thing, you know, that you hold? It's fire, it's a stick, it's like a torch for each other. Leading the way to our keys to enlightenment through the depths and the darkness of our 8th houses. So I light up and you light up for me. We both light up the 8th house for each other. And so the 8th house is our dark house. It's our healing house. It's what's hidden. And so for our sons to be lighting up those houses for each other, it's like, I can see you. I can see you. You can't hide from me. Also, I'm a Scorpio. You can't hide from me anyway. But I am like the way that we'll talk about just our relationship and the safety that we feel with each other, the way that we hold this torch for each other. Our suns are lighting up through our 8th houses. Like, it just makes so much sense that you're there to light my darkest times. I need to go through that and feel it, but I know that you're going to be there. And so you can teach me through that. On the flip side, for me, in your chart, I give you that safety from your fears, from your wounds, from what you don't want to share or let the other world see. Like, I give you that confidence. to be able to share that with me. One of the cool things, another cool thing about our synastry chart is that your Mars is lighting up my north node. So your north node is your destiny. And it's often in a sign that you don't feel, in a place, in a house that you don't feel confident in. So I have the north node in Taurus in the 5th house. Your Mars is sitting, I kid you not, directly on my north node. So Mars, the planet of masculinity, bravery, is sitting there, like giving me the confidence to go for my dreams. Like what you were saying about being a part of this journey with me and being supportive for me, that's exactly what you are. You give me the confidence to kind of put my leg out or put my toe in the water. Like, I'm going to start this business. Terrified as hell, right? I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna be someone that no one would even think that I would come out as. And you gave me that confidence. When I saw that, I was like, well, duh. Like, I would never be able to do this. As a Libra, I'm a Mars and Libra. I would never be able to do this on my own. I need someone else. But truly, having you there in that uncomfortable place for me, like, I feel so safe, like so freaking safe. Yeah, you remove my fear from that. You provide my grounding and safety, and that's all Tauran things. And you're this like stable, you bring in this like stability, this unwavering support that I need so that I can go after my dreams. Like I just, you can't make this stuff up. I say it all the time. Every reading I do, I say that multiple times. You cannot make this stuff up. You just can't. So my moon, which is my emotional body, my nurturing, lights up your 12th house. And more specifically, it's right on your rising sign, who you came here to be. So my moon, my emotional body, is there to hold you, to bring you and comfort you into who you came here, your soul came here to be. Your rising sign is the lens of your soul. It's what you're rising towards, it's your higher self. And your job is to activate it and aim towards it in this lifetime. And you have me and my moon sitting there like, hey, you want to go, you want some sound bowls? You want me to pull your cards?
Those are all things that never in my life I thought would be like a normal part of my everyday life, and that is, and I've also embraced it because I see, you know, incredibly passionate you are about this, and for me, it's also that reminder of like, do the things that you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and so for you, and you've got a lot of, you know, talent with this as well, and I'm glad that you've continued to chase it. The funny story about this though is when you initially started to get into this world, I was worried that when you pulled my chart, you would have realized, or were going to realize, that I was wrong for you in some way, and I kept literally going, oh no, oh my God, no. Then you're like, okay, I pulled your chart, I got to talk to you about this. And I was like, well, this woman I love is going to tell me I'm not right for her. And then you came out and you said, no, it's perfect. And then when you overlaid our charts and you were explaining why we are the way they are, and as things were happening, this point in your life, this is why we both were together. It to me, it just made me feel obviously much better. So, and then when you started talking about, you know, our sinister chart, you know,
Sinister? Is it sinister there?
Yeah. Well, that's why I originally was like, oh, what does sinister mean? Like, what is our sinister chart? Oh, it's how our relationship, what we light up about each other. Oh, it's
Street. Oh, that.
Nah, it's sinistry, not sinister. Right? So I'm learning along the way too. Right? So yeah. I appreciate all that you're teaching me.
No, that's a great point that you make. We have a visitor. Ovi, our Sagittarian Cavalier has joined the pod today. That is, I want to say that is a great point to bring up about astrology. Astrology will never tell you that someone is not right for you. A relationship, you're never going to be perfect. We're not made to be the same. We're all different. What astrology gives you is the tools to understand your partner. What makes them tick? What makes you tick? Understand each other, and that's how relationships work. There is no incompatibility. Everything can be understood. You just have to be aware and understand another person. And that's what you do through love. That's what you do through relationships and breakups, is you learn and you understand.
But you're able to teach through this is like, kind of like, but you're able to show people this is why you are the way you are.
Right. It's
and embrace it. But a lot of people don't understand that. I'm angry all the time because of this, or I'm overly emotional because of this, or, but they don't understand the why, and then they don't embrace it. They try to change it as opposed to working together to understand, each other.
Yeah.
So that has been really fascinating for me to learn from you.
Sagittarius is the teacher. I know we've talked a lot about the teacher in this episode, but it thrills me to be able to know that, I get to teach you about the 12th house. The house I love the most about my chart, my stellium in the 12th house, makes me who I am. And you get, through your Sag moon, is teaching me about your most cherished house, the 9th house. We are each other's teachers. And that's, I think, the greatest gift of our relationship, is we get to learn from each other. Through astrology and specifically the synastry chart, we know what lights each other up. We know how we're going to support each other. Obviously, a full reading, we would go into much more depth, but those are just kind of the high points of what our synastry chart means for us and how we light each other up. You give me expansion and optimism, and I get to teach you about the unseen and the woo-woo.
Sounds like a good deal to me.
But even when I saw that, though, and every single thing that I've studied through astrology, it's not something, again, going back. It's like, oh yeah, I already knew that. You already know this stuff. That is why astrology is so cool, is that it's not teaching you anything you don't already know. This is hardwired into us. We already understand how this works. We forgot it. Society has told us that it's rubbish, that it's not real. But you can't make this up. It lives in us. It is truly at our core who we are, and our spirit and our soul. And it's just about connecting back to who we truly are. Like, I can't surprise. I've been surprised about anything that's come up through astrology, especially with you and I.
No, I don't think anything has really surprised me either. I think it's that realization of like, okay, like after somebody memorializes it, or like, it's eloquently stated, and then it's like, well, of course, like it's almost like theater of the obvious,
right?
But you just need to hear it.
But you need that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just, you and I have a soul contract. We met, and right from the beginning, we knew that we signed up together to do this, and it just validation that, oh yeah, you did. It's like it's written on our synastry chart, and going through that, it's that ASMR, like, ooh, yeah, I knew that. I already knew that. I know you. So let's talk about some of the more fun, nuanced things about your chart. Okay. I want to talk about your Mars and Taurus.
I know where this is going. Okay.
Okay, so Mars and Taurus. So you have Mars and Taurus in the 2nd house. And so Mars and Taurus. So let me just tell you some other things. This is a slower energy into relationship. Its focus is on security, safety, really above all else. I mean, this is what it is. It's about security, safety. If you think about a Taurus, it's the big bull. Your masculine energy, your get up and go, is in the sign of Taurus, in the house of which it rules, the 2nd house. It's very comfortable there. And it's very disciplined. It has a high drive for high quality, getting things done right, doing things right the first time, being cautious, very earthly and grounded. And Okay, let me ask you before I tell you about your Mars in the second house. Like, when I say that, how's that feel?
It feels right. I think there's a lot of things like for me, like getting it done, doing it the right way the first time is good. Like what do we joke with our son all the time? I joke with him really. That what discipline is the foundation of excellence. Whether it's practicing sports, whether it's cleaning the garage.
Understand for sure, but they're both earth signs, so yes, I'll give you that one.
Thanks. But there is a need to do it right the first time. I don't like doing things multiple times. Right. So no, there is would you class
it your choice cut ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you would consider that a stubbornness, if you will.
Freaking I do.
What? Sorry.
But let me say something that may surprise you a little bit. So I, like I said, have my North Node in Taurus. It makes it comfortable. It's something it's my key to enlightenment, but I got to learn this. Like I got to focus on it, right? And it's not an energy that I'm familiar with, but you having Mars there, your drive for leadership, you're so strong, you're so supportive. You provide me with safety and security that makes me feel fulfilled. Surprise about Scorpio is not trusting. Scorpio doesn't trust anybody.
That surprised me. I understand this.
But having you have your Mars there, that lets me put my guard down, because that's I don't know if I ever told you this, but that's another one of the things that I was attracted to you the most, is that I noticed your hands. I noticed your hands, and I felt this strength. These hands that were hardworking, these hands that knew how to handle things, that knew how to take care of things, that I knew that I could trust. Whatever it is that I had, that Jeff would be there, Jeff was going to take care of it. Those hands, when I saw that, that's the visual that just made me feel like, oh, I feel safe. I feel really good here in this place. I love that about you. I love that you're hardworking. Obviously, money lives here. Money is in this place. You're hardworking for money. You're motivated by that. But we both have that in common. And it's something that you manage so easily. You manage those details so well and meticulously. Where I lack in that area, you thrive. And where I need that security, where I've never felt safe in any relationship whatsoever, to be the one to let someone else take care of me, take care of.
The hands is new. It's interesting to me. The need for security, I picked up pretty quick. Mm-hmm. You had to, again, in your Scorpio, not trusting, had to allow yourself to trust me to do that, mm-hmm. Which in the beginning, it was not easy. Mm-hmm. You fought it for a little while until you saw, or I earned your trust. Mm-hmm. But that, part of my nurturing was I wanted to I'm like, I got this. Mm-hmm. Let me handle this. Trust me. This is one thing you don't have to worry about. I don't want you to have to worry about it. And it took a while. At least maybe internally you trusted me a lot faster than you allowed me to see. Yeah. Externally, it was, I think it was, I kept, wow, okay, at some point you're you're just going to allow me to do this. And then you did. But again, I overly protective, and it's nice. Like I appreciate that you allow me to do that.
I appreciate that you do. Now, the flip side of Mars and Taurus.
This is what I was waiting for.
Yeah, okay. I have Mars in an air sign, and my Mercury is in Sagittarius. You are so freaking slow. You're so slow. And this is what I've learned and what I know. And through any of the Tauruses in life, this is true. You cannot rush a Taurus. You can't. Me, I'm like, oh, like drop of a dime. I don't know if that's the word. Drop of a dime, split of a something. I'm out the door. I don't need to, I'll drop whatever I'm doing, grab my keys, I'm out the door. I don't need to do anything. I need to give you like a 4-hour warning of when we're going to leave. And for some reason, we're still waiting for you to get in the car. Kate and I are in the car, honking the horn. Come on, Dad. 3 minutes later. Well, I had to start the laundry, check an email, lock all the doors 3 times, do my hair. I mean,
It's a while. No, I know, and I know, like, and I don't do it on purpose. And you get so frustrated, and you're like, let's go. Taurus is stubborn. It's hard. It's a big bull, right? It's hard to move, and I think I just get set, and I got something I want to do, because I'm also trying to maximize every moment. It's like I can squeeze one more thing in before we go, where you're ready to go. Like, let's go.
Sag, I don't care. I don't care about the details. I'm out. I don't know. Somebody will take care of it.
And I have an extreme.
Because you take care of it. I'm like, I'll drop it. I'm out of here. Someone will fix this.
I have eye attention to detail. So that's the polar opposite where, where it's funny because I do move fast on some things and I'm aggressive on a lot of things, but then at the same time I am extremely high detail and I want things done right. So there's a lot of yin and yang there where in my head it's like, go fast, get it right. Go fast, get it right. So, and I try to, when you're like, hey, we have to leave at this time, I do try to be on time, or you need me to do something, and I try to be aware of when you want it done by. And so, again, constantly.
No, I know.
You're teaching me.
You're the beautiful Taurus, saves me in so many ways. Again, you are my teacher. I need to learn these things from you. I can be reckless. Sagittarius, I'm reckless. Above the details, and it definitely bites me in the butt. And I'm so thankful that you're there to pick up the pieces, because quite often you do, as hard as it is for me to acknowledge and admit. Sometimes you're right.
Sometimes. But in that sense too, I think you also learned through this that it's hard to move a bull. So you almost come to expect now.
Don't try.
You're not gonna do it.
Or
you'll just do what you normally do and just tell me that, if we have to leave by 4, you'll tell me to be ready by 3:30. So when it is 3:45 and I'm still not ready, and you're like, I really want them ready by 4, like you learn as you go. So
Manipulation, just a little bit, just from Scorpio.
Darkness.
Oh, speaking of the darkness and what you like. So Venus, your Venus is in Virgo in the 6th house. So Venus describes what we like. It's what we love, and it's what we're attracted to. So I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that you had Venus in Virgo, I was like, oh God, I have no Virgo in my chart. I barely have any Earth in my chart. Thank God I have Saturn sitting next to my Sun. Like Earth, that's the only one I got. It's the only one I got. When it comes to the archetype of Virgo, I was like, oh God, I want to be bad for you. Why do you even like me? Right? Like, why do you like me? I'm not organized in a Virgo type of way. I'm messy. I'm Sagittarius. My mind is in Sag. It's in the 12th house too. Like stuff goes in and it's gone. Like I'm scattered. Even like getting ready for this podcast today, I was like, oh my God, Jeff's coming. I need to clean up. Like I'm scattered in that way. Like I'm not, details are, I don't like details. Virgo, and I don't want to say anything bad about Virgo because I love my Virgos. Some of my best friends is Virgo. This is the disciplined server. Okay. It's analyzing. It's organized. It is serving. Productive, detailed, or very particular, methodical. Okay, I was like, I'm not that. But then I got to thinking about it, okay? And how I do light you up, as though I may not be the typical, Virgo organized type, how I satisfy your Venus and that, that Virgo in the 6th is I am very, I'm very regimented in health and fitness routines. Like I tell you what to eat, when to work out, how you should work out, what to wear, when to go to sleep, how much water you should be drinking, what supplements you should, how to fast, when we're fasting. And in some way, I even adopt that critical, like telling you what to do, nagging a little bit. And I think you like it. Like, I think you like it a little bit. You sick masochist, you like the pain.
Goodness for my heart, exoskeleton. But I do. I'll even go as far as saying I appreciate it. I do. Because as disciplined as I am in a lot of things in my life, there are areas that I am not disciplined in. Like you were very helpful with, correct. Eating, sleeping, resting.
How much water are you drinking, Jeff? How much water have you drank today, Jeff? When did you eat? What did you eat? You can't have dessert.
Make
No
good
carbs
deci-
today. Make good decisions.
Make good decisions.
That's so
Make
funny when
good
you're on the road and you tell me, you'll be so proud of me. I made good decisions.
Okay, and literally I'll be at dinner, at a customer dinner, and we'll be eating, and people will get X, and I'll choose something else, and they'll be like, "Why didn't you get this?" And I'll be like, "Because my wife told me to make good decisions."
Well, I've gotten a lot better. I mean, when we first met, it was strict. I mean, we were up at 4 a.m. We were running. We had meal plans. We were counting calories. We were just doing all the things. Definitely.
No. I mean, you have, but the core things of like water intake and eating healthy, and I would even go as far as saying the meditation and the things that you know are going to promote a healthier lifestyle, you have not swayed from, which I can appreciate, because working, traveling, the things that I do, that becomes lower on my list of priorities amongst a plethora of priorities. So no, it is appreciated, and yes, you can call it nagging, but it's appreciated.
I want to stay on that Virgo topic because, my love, you have a major transit happening that just happened. I want to switch gears and talk about the progressed moon. I love the progressed moon. I know I've talked to you a lot about this, but actually I haven't even touched base with this to you lately, so this will be new for you. But so your progressed moon placements tell you whether you're in like an introverted stage, whether you're in an extroverted phase, really what your motivation and focus is going to be for a 2.5 year period. What area of your life is going to be highlighted, kind of like what, so the progressed moon moves through different signs and different houses on a 2.5 year cycle. So it's like wearing rose-colored glasses on your emotional body through that time frame. And you are 1 month into a new progressed moon cycle. Your progressed moon just moved from a month ago, so that was in June, Leo into Virgo. So many big events happen when your progressed moon changes signs. You can look back to, I believe it was my first episode about the progressed moon. Big life changes often happen when your progressed moon moves signs. And yours moving into the sign of Virgo. So Virgo is the earth sign. Virgo is a more introverted sign, but it is about alkalizing, purifying, detoxifying, cleaning, organized. It's a structured sign. It wants to, I guess, the high road of Virgo, a progressed moon in Virgo. What comes into focus is your health. Your health tracking comes top of mind. So the 6th house is all about, your daily work habits, animals, your day-to-day habits, your health, and just organizing. It's your routines and getting back to getting into a routine. And it's also, it's your work life. It's how can you be of service? It's organizing your world into systems and analyzing what's happening in your life and cleaning and purifying and getting things in order. It also highlights things, and definitely for you, because it's in the house that it rules. 6th house is the house of Virgo. Health issues. Health issues and being a workaholic can come up in this time frame. Now, when I think about, and I don't know if you've thought about this at all or felt this, actually, I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to tell you what has happened to you in the last month, health-wise. Specifically, like yesterday, I think. What did you do, Jeffrey?
Had a doctor's appointment?
Oh, you made a doctor's appointment. Charlie just fell off the chair. He just fell off of his chair. You made a doctor's appointment for nagging shoulder and knees. Wow. Okay. What? Okay. Just. Wow. Your progressed moon just moved into the house of health, and you made a doctor's appointment. Something that I've heard about for how many years now? All of them?
Too many. Too many, but it's time to get those looked at.
How interesting.
But yes, again, not a coincidence. See?
Within the last month, you also just got your office finally up and running, your home office, new office furniture, unboxed what we moved from Arizona. You're organizing, you're getting your feet grounded. Your job is not so much new, but I think you're getting into the rhythm. Letting go of, this is the first month for letting go of the Arizona house. We're letting go of that responsibility. We're figuring out, okay, what's our new day to day? We're here 100%. Like, Minnesota's the game. Like, we got to figure this out.
Got our driver's license.
We got our driver's license.
Real.
So
So
it's official.
yeah, no, it's true. But the office was the first thing that came to my mind, just because for me, that's like, this is you call it, your tree house, or, where all of your things happen, your magic happens. For me, like, that place is my office. And for over a year, between having half of our stuff down in Arizona and having some stuff up here, and then we moved here, and then for 2 months, it literally sat in boxes in my office, which is uncomfortable for me. Getting all of that over the essentially last weekend, finally to a place where I'm comfortable. All of my things are in one place and organized, and you've also given it the blessing. You were very helpful with the way you wanted everything to be.
Helpful, I like how you said that.
Yeah, helpful. That this week, and I traveled this week, and then but coming home and sitting in there last night and getting some stuff done and getting prepared for for the end of the week, felt comfortable. And there was like a weight that was lifted off of me, where I felt like, oh, this is everything finally it's starting to feel right.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
So no, there's truth to that.
No, I think it's the perfect moon for you, progressed moon for you to be in, and for you to help us through as we figure out, okay, we're here full time, like, what does this look like, and money's in order, the budgets, the bills coming in, we no longer have to worry about Arizona, so what does it look like for us? What are we going to invest? Like, what does this new look like? And we can plan, and you can kind of guide that. I can dream and you can plan, and
Thanks. Discipline.
Yeah, for sure.
You dream.
Well,
I'll manage.
All right, dreaming and managing. All right, let's
So
cheers
a happy medium of both.
Yes, let's cheers to that. Thank you so much. I'm gonna cheers to you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being my first guest on the Bell Astrology podcast. I hope the viewers loved getting to know you and I a little bit more, learned a little bit about astrology, Cancer season, your birth chart, synastry charts. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
other than to thank you, for being amazing at what you do. And I know the people that you've worked with already and have touched have, been nothing but complimentary of the way you are and what you've taught them. And that makes me happy. And me being your first guest on this podcast is really, for me, special because I know, how much you love what you do, and for you to allow me into this world, that really, to me, like, it just means a lot to me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, with that, I think we did it, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Follow me on social. Follow me on Ashley Bell Astrology on Instagram. I am on TikTok. This pod, I hope, will be Threads. Oh, I'm on Threads. This pod, I'm going to turn this around because I don't think we need to edit this at all.
Amazing.
It's amazing. One and done. I love it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. My heart to yours. Cheers.